of the town.
Hello everyone, my name is Jagdish Kharel. It's my great pleasure to welcome you on the show Talk of the Town, a weekly television program in Nepal that has been continuously broadcasting through Image Channel television for the past 12 years. This program is dedicated to urban development, disaster risk reduction and management, water sanitation, health, hygiene and various other aspects of social development issues. Today, we are going to cover the program held in Kathmandu about the safely managed sanitation in South Asia. More specifically, the program will be focused on the status, challenges, way forward and partnership on sanitation among the South Asian countries.
The inaugural day of the South by South Cross-Learning Hub Retreat witnessed a gathering of more than 150 sanitation partners and stakeholders from across South Asia, including Nepal, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, China, Indonesia and the Philippines. The event, held in Chandragiri, Kathmandu, aimed to foster collaboration and discuss the critical role of stakeholders in the sanitation sector. Dr. Roshan Raj Shrestha, Deputy Director of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, kicked off the program with an address shedding light on the current status, vision, priorities, and the pivotal role of stakeholders in the field of sanitation in South Asia. His insights were complemented by other presenters who actively participated in the presentations.
Why we are working in South Asia? You all know that South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa is the one where people are lacking the safely managed sanitation. Not only that, many things need to improve there. But we are working on sanitation, that's why we pick up this tourism and where we will be investing more and working together with you more, and then we will be impacting in this tourism in next couple of years. I never see this kind of momentum in this world is happening in 4 to 5 years of time. Such a big change transform. I can't imagine. When I did my PhD, my topic was fecal sludge management that time, and sludge was just like nobody listened. So it was in 1999 I finished my PhD. Nobody know that. So, and then in between I worked a lot. I tried to work with the different places. Then in 10 and a half years, working with the foundation, the way how we evolved the strategy, that really make a lot of sense. And the way how we did all these partners, with us, not us. The partners, architect, how we build up, that really make things happen. And you can see in 10 years, 5 years, things can be changed a lot. That's why that people say, you said that, yes, DG, no, not achievable. Why not? It's achievable. Just need to do this way, it's achievable.
For safety of sanitation workers. The most marginalized populations in the country, in any region, everyone knows here, they have set up these political policy scheme commitments to make sure there is zero death, zero casualties in sanitation work by 2025. It's a huge target. There are many challenges we have to cover. It's a generational problem. But I want to show you that there is optimism and opportunity that's happening in India, which is why I'm very, very eager to learn on how Bangladesh, Nepal, and many other countries are solving this problem.
When we talk about developing markets to drive uptake of these transformative technologies, we're primarily concerned about developing an environment in which these technologies will be able to be adopted at scale and serviced and maintained over time without failing. We don't want to bring something new and then put it out there and let it die on its own. That's not our goal. Our goal is to leverage the wonderful work that's been done with CWISE systems, with developing capabilities in municipal and government utilities in order to provide these services to people, creating an enabling environment that pulls on all of the different players in this sanitation environment.
Just to add to what Roshan has said, the transformative technologies are also climate resilient technologies. That's one part. And in Bangladesh, the CWISE FSM cell, which was on the slide when Roshan spoke about the Asia strategy, there were several divisions under it, focusing on technical, financial, gender, social inclusion, and disaster risk reduction or the resilience and climate change adaptation. That was one of the units supported by the government themselves.
Regarding this private sector, actually, ADB is recognizing that involvement of private sector is much more important than ever in bringing the scaling up of transformative technologies and applicability of that in many countries in South Asia and Southeast Asia. And we are advancing through different approaches, but specific to different countries.
Mind shift is taking place, and I think it's happening, but it takes some time. And some areas and within countries move faster than others in that mind shift that it's not just major infrastructure, but there's a lot of different pieces and different options that make up the overall market for sanitation.
This journey, if we, document or if we, share these, then we don't replicate, wrong in a larger scale.
The program provided a platform to outline the objectives and approach of the South by South Cross Learning Hub, facilitating open discussions among various partners.
We've seen actually the power of collaborative action, like I was saying earlier, through all our work in collaboratives, through specifically the work in sanitation and all the wonderful work that the partners have been doing in India, now also in Nepal and Bangladesh. But, and we've also seen that some of these partners have been engaged in cross-learning, how discussions with various partners have highlighted that there has been a need for increased and strengthened cross-learning, even though it's happening at a country level in each of your countries, right? But how can we streamline and bring it all together? And this is what you see here. And I also want to just say that not many of your logos are not here. And by the end of this retreat, what we want to be able to make sure is that have all your logos there and ensure that each one of you are part of this hub and each one of you are part of the key levers that we have identified here.
If we can have more collaboration of academic partners along with these kind of forums, right kind of material will go back to the classrooms. And the teachers and their capacity building could also be looked at closely when we talk about capacity building.
Because of this cross-learning, we introduced Omni Processor. So it's a new, very innovative idea. So we introduced in Bangladesh for the first time through Ankur. So that was a great experience and great learning.
In the future, in the coming days, I think we need to have cross-country financial institute representatives.
Provide them a platform to have that kind of a disruptive and new ideas in the sectors, which is, I truly believe that sanitation is one, we really need that.
What could be the 3 to 5 areas of focus and target outcomes for at least next 5 years, so that we can also think of where we are moving and what kind of work we should do.
These are the methodology, applicable, good for sharing and good for learning as well. So just I request that we will put resources and thinking whenever we'll think of learning exchange. Thank you.
My suggestion is that in such type of events, when we are talking about the cross-learning, we talk about community engagements, but not regularly, but often we should call community representatives as well in such forums so that they share the experiences and they learn from us, and that also they get some motivation. So I feel like it is very important to engage them in such forums.
As the process of cross-learning evolves and matures 2 to 3 years down the line, you would agree that it would be important to track the progress of the cross-learning. Let's keep that into our minds, and right from the beginning, because there is no dearth of learning. Learning is significantly important, but we need to keep a close eye on what that learning results into. Thank you.
Diverse alliances dedicated to the cause of safely managed sanitation in South Asia were recognized, showcasing several notable achievements. The event featured an in-depth discussion on the sanitation landscape in South Asia and the indispensable role of these alliances.
While working in the network, we all must be driven by the common agenda and common target. And for FANSA, we have a common target as ensuring increasing in access to equitable and inclusive sanitation for all. And our target group is our marginalized communities, people and communities from the low-income communities, women, children. So that is how we are working in a unified manner. And like we have been discussing earlier also, like in the network, we will have diverse group of people, organizations with different expertise, and we need to map them and make the maximum utilization of that. And at the same time, we need to promote each other as well as support each other.
We believe that just as we need a big platform and a big push, there is a great need for 1 million baby steps. And we as CSO organizations spread across the region can provide energy for that baby steps at different geographic locations, which we can take forward as one single movement.
Capacity, for example, you talk of budgeting, but the councillors don't even know how much budgets they have. Forget of the scheme. So I think preparing for councillors' education and education at a smaller city level is very, very crucial for communities to participate, because they are all going to be there.
Okay, just I want to add the madam issues that what is the mechanism in the organizational level to represent regularly. In case of Nepal, just I want to add, like in some municipality, they have developed this community mobilization strategy. In that, they have the TLO, Toll Lead Organization. In every ward, there is a committee is formed, and from every community, there are the 33% women representation. Although there are not much more leaders, women leaders in that TLO, but the issues and agenda will be raised to the municipality, and that in every 3 to 5 years, that is elected and new member will be represented there, and the agenda and issue will be go in the ward level as well as in the municipality. That is the trend where they can raise the issue. And next thing is like we have the mothers group where female health worker, they will lead and they will give the information for the community leaders.
AIT has a decade-long experience, working with the foundation, but Global Water and Sanitation Center is a new center. We were just launched last year at AIT, and our main objective is to mainstream citywide inclusive sanitation, and also see how we can bring in the transformative technologies in the sanitation sector to meet the SDG by 2030, SDG 6.2 by 2030. The vision actually being how can we accelerate the reliable, the sanitation solutions so that it's accessible, equitable, and sustainable to everyone. Because we know that the recent report also shows that we have to maximize our efforts by 5 times or even 13 times for the low-income communities to achieve SDG by 2030.
ITN BUET is working as a capacity building hub nationally and regionally for mainstream CWIS and FSM. So the capacity building activities are going for different, as I said, different type of government organization, also for implementing partners, the ground level people who are working like the sanitation workers, and other partners who are stakeholders who are working in the sector like NGOs, INGOs, development partners. So with the help of BMGF, ITN BUET has established a FSM laboratory at BUET. It was earlier an environmental lab, and now it's transferred to a FSM lab where people can do the FSM related testing. So as I said, this is due for an official launch, but today as we have the opportunity to have a very big gathering, so I'm really happy to have a soft launch of this, and I will request Mr. Roshan to come on the stage and just have a small click, please. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is the first, it's the look, the current look of the repository. As I said, there are some options you can see at the top.
NIUA, it's a premium national think tank and apex body of Government of India, whose mandate is to develop cutting-edge research in the area of urban sector.
And how does it disseminate? It does it through knowledge exchange, capacity development. It's a 4-decade-old organization who supports projects at national, state, and city level. Over here, there are a galaxy of organizations and experts. We are just starting the forum, and we would want your knowledge, your expertise to how to scale and how to exchange the knowledge between the peer-to-peer knowledge.
I would like to give you the brief overview of Nepal sanitation landscape as well, because like we started actually really prominently standalone sanitation started from 2010, where the sanitation and hygiene master plan was endorsed, and all the sector players came together to operationalize that. And with this national sanitation campaign to achieve ODF, we have been working together for a decade. 2019, we managed to declare Nepal ODF, but with lots of challenges and also lots of responsibility over our shoulder as well. And it has been also disrupted and affected by lots of challenges like 2015 earthquake, and our federal transition, COVID, and all these. So in this line, we have been seeing that sanitation had really moved forward currently, though we have a gap after 2019 as well. So currently we are working on lots of policies, like WASH policy had been recently approved. We have also have this WASH Act approved, and upon which we are working on WASH regulation, as you have already discussed on NWASH MIS, which is a comprehensive portal of WASH, where we have been working on strengthening the sanitation part as well. So in this line, we see that we have lots of progress on this, and this platform is the privilege to learn and share of these as well.
So let me share what is the FSM network. So Bangladesh Fecal Sludge Management Network is a common and collective platform for the sector actors to generate the ideas, share views, influence policy and practice, and raise a collective voice to meet the challenges of the sanitation sector. In our earlier presentation, many speakers said that Bangladesh have taken a very good policy initiatives in Bangladesh. They have already developed the fecal sludge management institutional and regulatory framework. They have prepared the national action plan. But our approach is that how this plan and action can be effectively implemented to make sure that no one is leaving behind. So that's why we are mostly working with the implementers, but primarily it is a platform for the civil society organization, and the ultimate target that how all those policy actions can really lead to the SDG target.
In this journey, we have now looked at how we can focus more on inclusion and move from, looking at FSM, but now as citywide inclusive sanitation, FSM being a key central feature of how we want to prioritize inclusive sanitation in India. And so really the work of the Alliance is around the policy, government engagement work we do, the knowledge aggregation, and our large focus on inclusive sanitation. So actually identifying the best practices across states and cities that our partners focus on, documenting them and ensuring that this is actually scaled to the rest of the country in terms of whether in policy or actually best practices that other technical partners can take up as well.
So it could not have been done by one organization or one person, right? It's all that collective coming together, how that work was split, and then we were able to place fecal sludge management, used water management, and reuse as a national central agenda, with the planning authority. So I think this is the power of collectivization, right? And I'm very happy that a few years ago, as part of the Alliance, we introduced a group called Cultural Task Force, which not only looks at what we are going to do for the sector, but how the aspirations of the members are met. So I think this is something that maybe even other alliances can look at, consider.
Advocacy is being done to all development partners, so that we have been able to just complete 130 plus these WAS plan out of 753 local government. But there are ongoing WAS plan activities in different countries, different parts of the countries.
Just some point added with Siddhi Shrestha, UNICEF Nepal. Main aim is to WAS is focused to and linked with SDG 6. 6.1 water supply, 6.2 sanitation. So it is the planning tool of government Nepal to achieve sanitation development goal number 6. Thank you.
Participants engaged in group discussions, delving into various thematic issues surrounding sanitation. Topics including identifying gaps, addressing challenges, setting learning priorities, and exploring innovative models and approaches within the sector.
We also discuss about business model thing as well. Like we looked into the through value chain, and then when we decide, as in a life cycle, we all agreed that it's not a private sector attractive proposition. But if we look into individual components, then there might be opportunity for private sector to attract into the business. For example, emptying and transportation. That could be one of the examples.
I think we should stop looking at JC as a cross-cutting theme, because it is, crossing too fast. People are not, really thinking about this. This should become a, separate vertical, should be, dealt separately. And I think WASH should become a cross-cutting thing into the overall JC framework. There are a lot of policies, a lot of, programs in place, but these programs are not reaching on ground. So the third learning priority is how do we implement these things on ground? How do we involve these people and communities into the planning, into the implementation of these particular activities and programs?
So I think it's important to identify the opportunity to engage with them and explore that opportunity. So it is not the budget is not there. I think it is we need to leverage what is the opportunity already available. That is one. And also the state budgets. There are a supplementary budget has to be mandatory to be put as a gender budgeting.
Field level also, it's very important to see different pedagogy for the training of how things are going to happen and work around. And capacity building of different networks have to happen, and mentor support is very important is what we feel, because that continuous training over a period of time is very much required. One-time training and having a full stop to it will not really work towards it. So these are some of the innovations that we thought would be.
So everyone has to be able to buy that products, and therefore we need to discuss about how to make technologies financially viable. The next one is on the circular economy as part of the learning priorities. How do we make sure that also reuse of the treated wastewater or any other waste can be reused as part of the learning priorities? For example, I think a few weeks back, the UN or UNEP, they released documentations on the wastewater reuse as part of the, circular economy or part of the mitigation of the climate change.
So as far as policy is concerned, yes, I think there is a consensus to start with policy instruments are a must, it should have. But there is a follow-up question, how dynamic this policy document should be, because time changes, scheme changes, many times policy are in the same form, so that become a hindrance. So against this, there are reflection different, because in our experience from India, we have seen that policy changing takes lots of time. So that is why different time the advocacy comes. In the similar line, people also said better try to leverage from the existing policy, and more emphasis will be on the reform, on the performance grant, etc.
We spoke about how real-time operational transactions are important for the data to be more reliable. We also spoke about how marginalized communities are mostly left out. when we talk about data or we talk about systems like even property tax or trade licenses or any of these systems. So service become important in such cases.
Talk of the town.
The first day featured a very fruitful and impactful presentation, interaction and workshop in terms of objective, vision, priorities and the role of partner organization regarding the status, challenges and the way forward for safely managed sanitation in South Asia. On the second day, the discussion focused on various levels of government and communities in South Asia, and it was significant, insightful and inspiring.
On the second day of the program, government representatives from South Asian countries elucidated the landscape, best practices and institutional frameworks related to sanitation. They also outlined forthcoming initiatives aimed at furthering sanitation goals in the region.
After ODF, now at present, Nepal government sanitation programs are aligned with the SDG, which we all are aware about it, and which is also a global agenda for safely managed sanitation, especially the sanitation indicators SDG 6.2 and 6.3. For your kind information, there used to be 6% of access of basic sanitation in 1980, by which Nepal government has started formally the sanitation activities. And by the end of 2016, we have achieved 95%. So it took 2 years to get the 5%, rest of 5% sanitation, basic sanitation service, and we declared in 2019 the ODF country. Now at present, 10.7% of the population has connection to the sewerage network, and 3% of which is being treated safely. That is, we do have at present only 3% of safely managed sanitation. So in SDG, we have set target 50% of the population will have the safely managed sanitation by 2030.
Odisha, having a total population of 43 million, located in the eastern part of India, has an urban population of 7.3 million. Around 27% of the people are slum inhabitants. The problem that we initially faced way back in 2015 was the wastewater was discharged into the through the storm drains into the natural environment, causing the contamination of the rivers flowing through the cities. There were no toilets. The public mostly relied on on-site sanitation. This was the situation in 2015. In 2016, the state took bold initiatives of ensuring universal access to sanitation and achieving open defecation-free cities. And since then, the journey has begun. The state came up with the first urban sanitation policy in 2017, which envisioned achieving open defecation and open discharge-free cities with its liquid and untreated wastewater treated safely, managed, treated and disposed. And then, since then, policies have been formulated, regulations have come up, and capacity buildings have taken place, and through that we have adopted a decentralized community-led initiatives, inclusive sanitation model. So this is how our journey started, and it is still continuing.
Considering the existing national policy and regulations, considering each of the country's priority, so we have to focus the most essential and most obscure components that was not highlighted also the yesterday, that is community engagement. I must say, I'm repeating the component community engagement. It has been lost within the term stakeholder management. Whenever we call the stakeholder management, it will covered like within equity gender has been covered like this. Okay, so community engagement is the right holders. So immerse the empowerment of the right holders to make accountable the duty bearers, following the national rules and regulations. And there are lots of the government priorities. So I must say, political goodwill. Try to advocate and try to influence the political goodwill. If there is no political will, no initiatives can be ahead accordingly. So political will, and we have to advocate, and we have to advocate to influence this.
Additionally, the use of digital technology for sanitation service delivery was a central focus, with governments and stakeholders sharing their experiences in this realm.
As you can see here that we need data monitoring systems at all levels, as access, conveyance, treatment and reuse. And this, we say it's important from CVs because until and unless you attain access to toilets for all or safely manage desludging and disposal, you can't call yourself CVs, right? You can, so you have to attain the outcomes but also the functions, and this, in a way, this monitoring systems are also accountable and it creates a responsibility within the government to report to the national and the state framework that we seen in the previous slide.
This is a flagship program of Global Water and Sanitation Center at the AIT, and we were working with a number of partners including Department of Public Health Engineering and A2I. These are the two government lead agencies. They are working with us, and we also have other partners like Tiller, Innovative Solution, UNICEF, SNV Netherlands, Streamstech. All of them are working with us to make the public data system available for everyone in Bangladesh, with a target that this data will achieve the SDG 6.2 targets, and it will be reported back to the UN system.
A2I need a very introduction, since we are, I think we are the youngest one here as an organization representing sanitation. We started our journey in the domain of sanitation like 2 or 3 months ago. So A2I basically is a flagship program of the government of the Bangladesh, started in the 2008, anchored in the Prime Minister's office to facilitate the digital transformation, having a vision of Digital Bangladesh 2021.
The systems usually do is go to the city and ask them for the information versus actually monitoring the real-time transactions which happen. So that's where we play a role. And that is the philosophy behind which we developed this platform, DigitFSM. We want to look at the real-time transactions as and when they happen, and then feed this data into decision-making, planning and operations, and service delivery.
I'm leading the project pilot implementation of FSM standard in Nepal. This project, funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is being implemented in Mahalakshmi Municipality, Lalitpur, which is one of the municipalities in Kathmandu Valley, and it's being replicated in 2 other municipalities, which is Godavari, again in Kathmandu Valley, and the other is Waling Municipality outside Kathmandu Valley.
So we are the first municipality in Nepal to implement the IMS, that is the digital sanitation system. So also we are the first to implement the FSM bylaws in Nepal. So also we are the first to integrate the EBPS system, electronic building permit system, with IMIS. And the field monitoring and sanitation app, we are also the first in Nepal. So thank you so much.
And I'm very happy to say that most of the municipal corporations where we've been working have linked their website to our website, since we have published it on our website and it is in the public domain for people to see it. Of course, along the way, I mean, 2.5 decades is a long time. We have adopted various tools and made this smarter, the whole process. So today we are completely on open source. We use QGIS, we use Google Earth Google Earth is whom we've partnered with for more than a decade. We use that as a base map. We use Avni for gathering data.
The program transitioned to discuss inclusive sanitation service delivery through community engagement, with emphasis placed on understanding the community's role, effectiveness, challenges, and priorities in service delivery.
I'll just introduce Meghna. She's part of a transgender group, and over a period of time they were trained to handle the FSTP there, and they are doing it very, very well. I think they have got another FSTP service contract also now. So Meghna जी, मेरे लिए आपके लिए एक सवाल है कि आपको क्या पर्सनल मोटिवेशन था कि जिससे आप सैनिटेशन सेक्टर में आए?
Namaste sir. Yeah, myself Meghna, actually I'm from a transgender community. Before this work, I was working as a sex worker. In case if we are working in to manage the FSTP, it is also one society stigma that I'm also when we are able to be in social acceptance.
Recently, Meghna said how the FSTP plant manage. Even recently, Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation are engaged to them in along with the FSTP plant. They are managing now cesspool operation. So entire sanitation value chain they are managing, and community management committee linked with the transgender group. That means when we are talking about the mainstreaming, transgender mainstreaming, that transgender are given service.
र यो अभियान गर्दै गर्दा हामीले के सिकायो भने नीतिमा छ, विधिमा छ, ऐनमा छ, संविधानमा छ, सबै कुराहरुमा छ, तर व्यावहारिक रूपमा एक्सनमा चाहिँ नदेखिएको कुराहरुलाई चाहिँ हामी संगठित भएर चाहिँ सबैसँग हातेमला गरेर अभियानको रूपमा चाहिँ कार्यान्वयनमा गयो भने चाहिँ यो सफल हुन सकिन्छ भन्ने हाम्रो सिकाइरहेको छ.
Okay, so one of our learning is that there is policies in place, rules and regulations are there, but they are not being implemented. So what we understand is that we all need to be organized to make it implemented, to make it happen.
We have partnered with different wards of Kathmandu Metropolitan City and Lalitpur Metropolitan City for the land. Especially the local government provides the land facility, land for the construction of the public toilet, and Erasan build, operate, design and take it for the sustainability.
In the closing remarks at the end of the two-day event, Dr. Roshan Raj Shrestha, Deputy Director of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, expressed his satisfaction with the program's success. He reiterated his belief that sharing best practices and experiences among South Asian countries could bring about substantial improvements in safely managed sanitation within the sector.
This is really amazing journey of Dasara and all our work, because it's not really happening in 1 or 2 days, because to make all this platform, all those community engagement, what we did in last 7-8 years is really coming up. So, this is not easy. Sanitation is no more toilet than sewer. There are a lot of things out there. Yesterday, today, what we discussed about sanitation is very complex. Just today you see it. All these, we discussed about the data, science, so many things, governance, institutional framework, regulatory mechanism, all those things, how can we really be successful? So we have now big opportunity because such a large groups are there from such a large number of countries. And now how can we keep this platform together, and who is going to drive that? Who is going to push, bring together? Dasara, very glad that Dasara took that responsibility to bring you all together and discussing this kind of platform, organizing this kind of platform. I hope it will continue.
Indeed, the program proved to be successful and fruitful in terms of the safely managed sanitation in South Asia. The current status, challenges and potential collaborative efforts for the near future in South Asia were thoroughly discussed. Of course, this will help us to achieve the target of SDG 2030 within the time frame. With this note, I would like to conclude the program. Thank you very much for watching us. Namaskar.
Talk of the Town.